Okay.
All right.
This is not America.
Hey, welcome back to Talking Truth to Power, America's Freedom Talk Radio. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor, my co-host, Leland Faegre, and behind the board, Shanimal Lawson.
Thank God.
Yes.
Morning.
Okay. Well, it's day 28 of the Russian special military operation in Ukraine, and the Russians still have not run out of gas.
No, but the excitement is on the Ukrainian side, for what we're hearing.
Oh, yeah, well, that's all we hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers are correct. Did you see what Russia is claiming as far as casualties?
I saw that the UN now says that 1,000 civilians were killed, which is, yeah.
Well, in terms of those in uniform.
No, what are they saying?
Well, they're saying 7,000. That's what Russia is claiming.
Of their own people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're not waging war like America does. They didn't carpet bomb the country for a month before they sent the troops in, and so they're taking more casualties.
You wouldn't believe that by looking at Mariupol.
No.
Man, that looks desperate there.
Yeah.
But that's part of the eastern side, which I think, in all fairness, is probably going to go to them anyway. You know?
Right. Well,
Why would they destroy something they want for themselves?
because that's the headquarters of the Nazis.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the.
They're going to have to build it up again.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
As I understand it, there were 4 sectors. 2 are totally pacified. 1 still has pockets of resistance, and the 3rd is the major one. There's about 15,000 Ukrainian Azov neo-Nazis, whatever you want to call them, holed up in a large steel factory, and they're putting up resistance there. But there's no way to get them any, more ammunition, food, water, anything like that.
Right, and that clearly is the problem wherever there is battling going on.
Yeah.
Whether it's the suburbs of Kiev or elsewhere, which they're now claiming that they've fought back and claimed.
Yeah.
They've reclaimed areas of the suburbs of Kiev, according to the Ukrainian ministry.
Well, the thing is that Kiev is not the prize, at least right now, like the Western media is saying.
Right, and that's what Buchanan is saying too, is that everything east of the river is effectively Russian.
Right.
That's the design.
Yeah, the main reason why the Russians are around Kiev is to keep any elements of the Ukrainian army there. That's
or armed shipments.
Yeah, and/or armed shipments.
Yeah, I'm still wondering how that's getting in.
And they left the whole southern part open for people to escape.
There are now several, as many, at least 2, maybe a dozen exit corridors that have apparently been approved. So
Yeah.
people are exiting in droves.
Well, I've seen a video of people from Mariupol that got out, and they are definitely saying that it was the Ukrainians that were not allowing them to leave. And it makes sense because...
Especially transgender types.
Yeah, they were stopping transgenders and making them join...
You gotta go back.
You're a biological male, go back, fight. Okay, so that a lot of these, we don't realize that Ukraine is, under Zelensky, has become a lot more woke. I mean, I've seen pictures of Ukrainian grammar schools with a lot of woke drawings and stuff. I don't know if it goes down to the 1st grade or whatever, but they're definitely pushing the LGBTQ message in Ukraine.
Sure, because that bonds us and entangles us internationally.
Right.
So it's part of the education design that they have for the New World Order.
Right.
But I don't mean to interrupt there, but
no, but
I had to finish the thought about Biden mentioning the New World Order on Monday. To see
yes.
And then everybody took off on it.
Yes.
Fox, everybody was, all of the commentators everywhere were talking about the New World Order, but they're describing it inaccurately, which you might expect.
Right.
they're describing it as a new world order. It's the same old thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's no different.
Well, I think maybe critical race theory and wokeness
Well, there's
is more predominant
yeah.
than it was 20 years ago.
Right,
but-
it's now been refined
Yeah,
to include things that weren't around when George Herbert Walker Bush first mentioned it.
sure.
But it's still the same old new world order. You're going to lose your nation
Uh-huh.
to a global design.
Yeah. You will have nothing and be happy.
That's right. And we're going to insist on it.
Yeah, and the people at Fox, you know, Brian Kilmeade especially on the morning show.
Especially him, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
He's a great broadcaster, but he is a zealot conservative and he just doesn't understand a lot of things. You know, he and Rand Paul got into it a few times.
yeah,
Not recently, but
in the past, yeah, yeah, and he had ghostwritten for him a book about Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, I'm sure all those
Yeah.
books that are coming out of the Fox lineup are
Yeah.
written by other people. Sure.
And he's calling Zelensky a new Lincoln and all this stuff. It's just absurd. And you know, Zelensky might not even be in Kiev. There's new evidence.
It's true. We don't really know.
Did you see the glitch? He did a video at night that was supposed to be on the streets of Kiev, but Reuters posted the video, but then somebody found the first few seconds of it when he was walking towards the camera and his shoulders were becoming transparent. You could see the background in the
there's
back.
a
So
green screen?
yeah, green screen, exactly. Why would he need a green screen if he's really in Kiev?
Well, I'll tell you why, because his public relations team makes sure that he needs a green screen. And he's got a great PR staff there, clearly. ITAB,
Yeah.
very polished, right?
Well, welcome back to Talking Truth to Power. Do you ever get on Reddit, Lee?
Oh, every once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's where a lot of the volunteers to go to Ukraine are being recruited.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. You know, that site used to be just nothing.
Uh-huh.
And now it seems like everybody's over there.
Well, they had Wall Street bets. That was a big deal.
Was it?
Yeah. You know, when they caused the AMC stock to go way up.
But they seem to be kind of, they target or get on top of everything that's really current, really hip, you know, really fast moving, that kind of thing. That's where everybody goes, apparently.
So a lot of these...
That's kind of why I avoid it.
A lot of these Reddit warriors went over to Ukraine and they're finding out that it's no turkey shoot.
It's not?
No, it's not like hunting deer because the Russians shoot back.
Yeah.
And so the Russians have launched about 3 strikes on these volunteer camps, and they've killed probably about 500 of them.
I mean, in the fog of war, would they even know what they are? It just looks like a potential enemy to them, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing is that the word is that these guys, these volunteers have been spending so much time taking selfies and chatting with people back home that all the cell phone activity has caught the attention of Russian intelligence.
Social
and
media.
How they,
sure.
Yeah, that's how they fired the strikes.
Yeah, so, from 30 miles up, they're seeing all these flashes going on.
Yeah. And then boom, a big flash.
Selfies in Kiev.
Yeah.
Selfies in Kharkiv.
And then there was there was one video saying that it is a trap, that these volunteers are worth more to the government in Kiev dead as a PR thing than they are as actual soldiers.
They don't know that, though.
Yeah, so they get like 2 days of training. They get a rifle. A lot of them don't even get ammo. If they get ammo, they get maybe 1 clip of ammo, and they're supposed to go to the front with that. Mm-hmm. So they're escaping. They're running to the Polish border.
Sure.
And then And then they have to
They
avoid
thought
the
it was
border
gonna-
guards because they're turning back the transsexuals
That's
and
right.
they're turning back the volunteers too.
Transgenders can't go back.
There's no problem there with whether you're a biological male or
Yeah,
not.
they understand that.
Yeah.
They don't understand it in the NCAA, but they understand it on the Ukrainian-Polish border.
Yeah. And so Putin gave an address this week, I think it was March 17th, the day after our last show, when he said, he directed part of it to the people of the West. He said, you're being told that your difficulties are the result of Russia's hostile actions, and you have to pay for the efforts to counter the Russian threat from your own pockets. He said, all of that is a lie. The truth is, the problems faced by millions of people in the West are the result of many years of actions by the ruling elite of your respective countries, their mistakes and short-sighted policies and ambitions. This elite is not thinking about how to improve the lives of their citizens in Western countries. They are obsessed with their own self-serving interests and super profits.
I wish he would go into a more refined explanation of who those elites are.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that, unfortunately.
What am I doing here?
He wasn't the first to not know what he was doing.
Yeah.
As far as America was concerned, but you're right. But how he explains it is correct insofar as what he says.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wish he would be a little bit more detailed about this grand global design of a new world order.
Oh, okay.
He refuses to mention it.
Yeah, yeah.
He never explains it in that expressive way,
Well, yeah, not in that way.
and it would help.
It would probably help if he was a little bit more explicit. You're
Yeah.
right. But a lot of these oligarchs that he's denouncing, he said that those who have estates in Miami Beach,
Right.
or the French Riviera, and they eat their foie gras and their oysters, and they are more in tune with the elites than they are with the people of Russia, and they should come back home. You know, all of that is true, and but of course he can't say that the vast majority of these oligarchs are Jewish. He can't mention that. I mean, we're not supposed to mention it either.
Well, what he could mention is that they're all heirs of the end of the Cold War. That's what they are.
Yeah, the 1990s, especially in Russia, that he has. You know, you can say what you will about him, that he's autocratic or whatever, but he's improved the lives of the Russian people. I mean, Moscow was just recently named by the UN as one of the 3 best megacities in the world. And,
He filled that stadium.
yeah, with the quality of life for the people. Oh, yeah, so build that
Let's go.
stadium.
Let's go see Vladimir.
And all the Russians had little Russian flags on
Yeah,
their cheeks
it's
instead
very-
of the Ukrainian
It's
flags.
very well planned out. Yeah.
Yeah. He's spoke at rallies like that before. I've seen him do it.
But he needed this one because he was
Yeah.
losing the PR war.
He's losing the PR war in the West, but his
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
that's how
Yeah.
we're speaking to largely
Yeah,
a Western
right.
audience. So I'm speaking.
but
to
of
them.
course they accused him of paying the people to show up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he probably did. There was probably some stipend or incentives for them to come out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't mean there was guns at their heads to show up, but I
No.
mean just incentivizing the whole event. Let's go
Right.
see Vlad. Take the day off from work. Let's go see Vlad because it was a work day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, do you think Biden could get a crowd like that?
no, he couldn't fill a diner.
Trump probably could, but not Biden. Oh my goodness! So the Russian offensive is not bogged down. It's a little bit more of a meat grinder than we thought, and I predicted that Mariupol would be totally taken, but it's almost taken by today's show, and so. I think that the war will probably be over at the end of April or middle of May as far as Russia getting its goals done. I mean, Zelensky is first he relented on joining NATO, and then he recently sent out feelers that he would recognize Crimea and the Donbass. But he says contradictory things all the time. Whatever his handlers think he should say, he says.
Right. That's part of the public relations process, and I think he's doing a damn good job of it.
Yeah.
He's got everybody on his side in the West for sure.
Mean old Putin.
Well, he doesn't want to occupy the country, so all this talk of funding an insurgency probably is going to be meaningless.
Right.
He just wants to set up an independent state, Novorussia, the new Russia, which is basically based on the Novorussia that Catherine the Great purchased from the Ottomans, which is mostly east of the Dnieper River, but we'll have to see what happens, but it could extend even somewhat west of the Dnieper region and include Odessa.
Well, Buchanan is claiming that's the extent of the outcome, is everything east of the river.
East of the river? I don't know.
Yeah, but he also says if Latvia, with 5% of Ukraine's population, is encroached upon, we will engage Russia militarily. And to hell with the risk of World War III or Russia's possible retaliation with atomic weapons. That would be
what Biden said.
No, Buchanan says this about Latvia.
Oh, well, Russia,
which is quite assertive, I think, on Buchanan's part.
He was always criticizing bringing the Baltic states into NATO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's saying we should do that, or he's saying
he's saying that's what will happen. If,
I don't think Russia wants to go after Latvia. I mean, those are small, insignificant countries. If NATO put nuclear weapons in there, he might want to, but I don't think he...
Well, it's just part of the old empire that he champions, that's what he stands with, is that whole Putin.
No,
he likes that whole stuff. He thought that the Cold War, the end of the Cold War, was the worst thing that ever happened.
Well, yeah, because so many Russians were left in a different country. Well, they're no longer in Russia.
Well, and what they lost in topographical terms, they lost a lot of territory.
But he doesn't want to get that all back. I mean,
well, we don't really know. I mean, it's hard to know what's in the back of this guy's mind, but
sure.
But it would be awfully difficult for him to strive any further, given the circumstances. How this war has gone for him. It doesn't look good. He's got a public relations problem. He's never going to be welcomed at the table anymore. He doesn't care about that.
No.
But the point is that he's not going to be welcomed. He'll be a pariah.
He's going to direct Russia's whole economy now to the east, and that's over half the world's population.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Britain is upset with South Africa because they won't sanction him, and so they're upset with India too. Jake the Snake Sullivan talked to the Chinese on Friday, and he just tried to bully them. He didn't offer them anything. He didn't say, well, if you condemn Russia, we'll once again come out and say that Taiwan is part of China, or we'll drop this whole Xinjiang thing or anything like that. He just tried to bully them, and China got very upset. But
I think that's how it plays out publicly, but I don't think that's really what's going on behind the scenes. That's not the conversation that I hear in my own ears.
Yeah? What conversation do you
I don't think it's that contentious.
Between us and China?
Yeah, or Russia. They need each other for climate change. They need each other for this grand new world order they have in store. It's contemporary posturing, but it's not long term. I mean, what was it, Khrushchev, 3 years after he invaded Hungary, he was riding up Pennsylvania Avenue with Eisenhower in an open limousine. These things come and go. Zelensky probably can't survive the signing away of the east part of the country, and Putin likely can't survive not bringing home new territory from a Russian victory. That's how this will play out. Free juicy?
Yes. So Juicy Smollett was the first major race hoaxer to be taken down, but he only spent 6 days in jail and he's out. I don't see how the appeals court could free him,
but it's Cook County.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's the most crooked place in the country.
Yeah. In a rational, real world, I don't know how they could let him go. But
They provided the votes for Kennedy to prevail in the
sure.
1960 election. Yeah.
Right. Which was a good thing. Nothing wrong with that.
Dead voters.
Yeah. Then recently, another hate crime in a major university where ugly graffiti using the N-word was posted. Turned out that the poster was an African-American student.
Right.
You know? I mean, it seems like most of these hate crimes are really hoaxes. No, they're not really real. I mean, of course, we have a few incidents like the murders in the Jewish synagogue and the murders in the Christian church. You know, those are terrible incidents. But most of these other lesser offenses are really hoaxes by people who want to inflame the situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's meant to be incendiary.
Right. And we have many Jewish synagogues with Nazi swastikas or overturning gravestones in Jewish cemeteries that turn out to be done by young Jewish people.
I saw a picture last week of a black guy in somewhere around the New York City that was putting up a swastika. They caught him painting a swastika on the side. Near the subway somewhere. You know.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. And so, again, he should do a little more time. I don't know if he needs to do the whole sentence, but he should be doing some more time for what he did. And
oh, he's a horrible human being.
Oh yeah,
just pathetic. Wouldn't give the guy time of day, would you? I mean,
no, I wouldn't.
Get out of here. You know?
But he'll probably get resurrected. They'll make him into a civil rights hero. He'll be on MSNBC talking about his terrible ordeal.
It'll be difficult, but that's clearly what they intend to do. Yeah,
sure. He's a big friend of Kamala. You know,
a lot of media people were riding on the tail of his good fortune, and they'll pay the price for it if they can't rehabilitate him.
Now, some of the Antifa people that participated in the riots were actually charged, but they didn't get very much. I think the worst. The worst punishment was some guy that wielded a 4-pound hammer against the police. He got about 4 years. But in the UK, an Antifa guy that did almost the same thing, only with a bat, he got 14 years. So, again, our justice system is a little too woke against these people.
That's being kind. Yeah, she ought to know.
And the QAnon shaman and the dude who put his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk, they're looking at some kind of hard time for that.
Until somebody pardons them.
Yeah. Let's hope somebody can pardon them. The Babylon Bee got canceled off of Twitter.
Yeah, that's something.
USA Today named Admiral Rachel Levine Woman of the Year.
I mean, everybody has fun with this. I'll bet you, behind the scenes, he's having fun with it.
Rachel?
Yeah.
Okay. So Twitter took the Babylon Bee off their platform.
But then took down the editor-in-chief as well.
Yeah.
Because he was mocking Twitter, the Twitter jail he was in.
Yeah, right.
How dare you have fun with the fact that I took your mouthpiece off our platform,
So the reason why, of course, was that they ran a story the next day, the Bee did, that recognized Ms. Levine as Man of the Year.
Mm-hmm. It was hysterical.
One of the better things they've done recently. And
well, it's right when they react that way, when they overreact, I should say.
We choose truth over facts.
So Facebook authorized hate speech against Russians, and they were promptly banned in Russia.
Yeah, you can't do that over there.
The New York
you can do it here, but you can't do it over there.
The New York Times finally published a story against cancel culture, specifically about banning conservative speakers on college campuses. And of course, the soy boys and Karens on Twitter, they all erupted over that. They were calling the New York Times fascist.
Well, statist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
transsexual woman, biological male Leah Thomas, continues her narcissistic quest to dominate women's swimming. And he won the gold by a good margin, and the silver recipient was an Olympic swimmer, a female Olympic swimmer.
He's got a lot of help in high places, though.
Yeah.
That's just what's going on there. And of course, DeSantis has dissented.
Yep.
He has said that he's going to recognize the second place
Oh, yeah.
swimmer
She was from
as
Florida.
the first place swimmer because she's actually female.
Right, exactly.
It's truth in packaging. Is it NCAA women or NCAA men?
Exactly. And Judge Ketanji, yes,
Uh-huh.
she couldn't define a woman.
No, she doesn't know what a woman is, though she is one.
You should ask her if a male can have a cervix.
That would be a good question for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was getting ugly today, so maybe somebody did actually turn that against her. I don't know, but it was getting ugly as I left this morning. So
Really? What were they asking?
just very contentious.
Uh-huh.
Well-heeled articulation, but very, very pointed, and trying to get her to, probably to despoil the whole thing so that she doesn't look so good, because she is clearly capable. She's very articulate. But she's a leftist, and it's clear why they wanted Breyer out of there, because she's much more radical than he is.
Yeah, that's true. And I think she's spot on a couple of things.
Well, of course. I mean, a broken clock is works twice or is wrong twice a day, right
But
twice a day.
It could be a good thing to have a public defender on the Supreme Court. I don't think there's ever been a public defender on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, her responses to that question, I have no problem with. And that's what the legal system's all about.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have to have representation. So
And I think she's right when she criticized the sex registries.
what was that one?
When she was in law school, she wrote an article criticizing sex registries. In other words, you have a sex offender that does his time, and then he's put on a registry, so he can't function for decades or for life after that, even though the recidivism rate for those kind of offenses is actually lower than most crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, until it happens to your little girl.
Well, yeah,
Your
but you
little
can't do justice
No, I know.
based on that.
Yeah.
You have to look at the overall, picture. And Judge Kennedy said that the recidivism rate was higher for sex offenders. That was based on one article in Psychology Today that was later, the author repudiated it. So there's a lot of literature that's.
I don't think they can help
right.
themselves, those people, but it's something that has to be looked at very, very.
Well, it's a
Scrupulously.
constitutional issue. I mean,
Sure
you
it is.
can't. You're supposed to do your time, and that's it. Unless.
But she
you
doesn't
do
know
it
when
again.
life begins. She can't
Yeah.
define when life begins.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
She apparently has no problem with critical race theory. There's all kinds of problems with her.
Yeah.
I wouldn't vote for her
Yeah.
under any circumstance.
And I may or may not either. I haven't heard the whole of her testimony, but the fact is, I think she's going to be nominated.
Yeah, by her own party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a few Republicans will join
I saw
in.
Caitlyn Jenner
Well,
saying trans girls should not play girls' sports. Caitlyn, you're a woman, right? A trans girl is a girl.
that's a good point. But we're talking
She
about.
should have the same rights as cis girls.
We're looking at Mitt
If
Romney.
you think a trans girl, you think a trans girl is too strong? This is so dumb. They are legislating this shit without one single example of how this plays out.
Well, we have a couple of examples, Sarah. That was Sarah Silverman. Oops.
Yeah, should be suspicious of anything she's got to say. But the point is correct. I mean, she is. We know what these things are. Americans know what these things are.
Well, I'm more concerned for Clarence Thomas's health.
Me too.
Yeah, because I would hate to see him go in a Democratic administration.
All right, terrible. That would be a terrible outcome. The good news is apparently he's responding well to intravenous
Okay.
medication. So whatever that infection was very, very difficult for him to kill, apparently. His body wasn't dealing with it well, so.
Yeah. Well, get well, Clarence. We need you back on the court, buddy.
Yeah, we do. He's the best up there, actually.
Yeah, actually, I think he is, but probably except maybe for Gorsuch. But yeah, I think he's probably the best one up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, if we get Judge Jackson on the court,
Ketanji.
hopefully though she'll be boxed into a corner. She'll write a few
Hopefully,
dissents, and that's
The problem is she's going to be there 35 or 40 years.
yeah.
The governor and I, and we were all doing a tour of the library here and talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
Yeah.
Hey.
I don't know why Newt Gingrich says that she's so dumb. I mean, there was 28 seconds of brilliant eloquence. I can't fault her for that. Yeah.
Time is very important.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's what we're doing today, which is the same that we do every day. That's important.
That's right. Yeah. And everybody goes through that. You know?
Sure.
So. It's almost a mantra, you know. But that's what Gingrich said about her, and he knows these things. So I don't know.
In terms of what we need to do.
The adults are supposed to be back in charge, you know. So
That's right. And America's back, on the world stage.
that's right. Yeah. You know what it is, don't you? It's one damn thing after another. That's the title of the Bill Barr book.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Barr
Yeah.
book, yeah.
And he says, Bill Barr says that he was very disappointed that Joe Biden refused to acknowledge during the debate that, the laptop information that Hunter said was real,
Yeah, he's out clearly on the lecture circuit or in prime time now because the Bushes want him out there. They're running interference to see what they can do going into the midterms and then beyond because they know that all the Bushes are trying to figure out a way to cut through the Trump lock on the party. And so Barr is out there doing his part. He's doing it very cleverly, but that's what he's doing out there. He's not one of us.
No, I never thought he
And
was.
Epstein, well, he could have,
He did a few things that were good. Yeah,
yes.
backed Trump in a few cases, but I never trusted him.
And you said there was a connection between him and Epstein? I remember one of the shows back maybe 6 months ago, we were talking about that. I can't remember what you said about that.
Well, I remember he was involved with the whole cocaine and Mina thing years ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Under the other Bush
in
administration.
Arkansas.
Yeah,
Right.
His name was mentioned as being there and providing cover or money and things like that. He was a bagman, basically, to cover up that whole incident. Because Bush and Clinton apparently were both involved in that CIA cocaine smuggling.
Was that your
racket.
laptop?
For real, I don't know.
I know, but you
my
know
point
that
is,
this
I
is
really don't know.
Okay.
The answer is,
Could have been yours.
of course, certainly, there could be a laptop out there.
Yeah.
It could be that I was hacked. It could be that it was Russian intelligence. It could be that it was stolen from me.
Yeah, well, actually, he turned it in for repair is what happened, right?
Exactly.
Isn't that what went down there?
Right.
He had a problem and he turned it in for repair, and that's how we all found out about it. And he's the smartest man that Joe knows.
Yeah, no, and he never did anything wrong.
Yeah.
No, And Joe had no involvement with his business dealings.
No,
Not at
clearly
all.
not. No.
It's amazing how 4 prominent politicians all have children involved with the Ukraine and Burisma.
Yeah.
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what.
Yep. And that's really what the laptop is all about. It's
Yeah.
not about his personal behavior. It's about Ukraine.
Exactly. Yes. And there's a lot of skeletons in Ukraine that they're going to try to cover up. And I think they're going to unearth a lot more, like they've unearthed the biology labs.
And I think that both parties have a vested interest in that cover-up.
Yeah.
This is CNN.
And that's who you go to when you want
When
to cover
you need
up.
to cover up. Or you could go to Brett Baer.
Well, there's a lot of places you can go, yeah. But that's the big one.
Yes, exactly. So who is it? Romney, Hillary, Kerry, and Biden. They all have kids involved with
Yeah.
the Ukraine and Burisma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been fun for them.
Very lucrative too.
Mm-hmm.
But those Mormons, you do well by doing good.
And as long as you have control of the Department of Justice, you'll be
You're a
fine.
lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Yeah. See, and that's how he's going to get off here, because they thoroughly expect an indictment to come. So how's he going to get out of that? Hey, Dad,
Yeah.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Can you talk to Maris?
Is there something you can do? Yep.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter. The indictment is immaterial because he's not going to do any time.
No, he probably won't. None of them do. Just like Putin said, none of them do.
It's just corrupt to the brim at the highest levels of the United States government. American people are naive about that, I think.
Very naive. I mean, Putin put oligarchs in jail, if they tried to sell Russian assets to the wrong people.
Compromise Russia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Z disappeared Jack Ma for over a month, it gave him a dressing down.
But you see, Biden's role is different. He's there to concede America's greatness
Way to go, a-hole!
and lay the foundation for the New World Order.
The Great Reset.
The Great Reset.
Yep. We will emerge out of this with a new world order. I wish I don't have the exact words he said, but
Yeah.
that's what they see this as for the COVID and the pandemic, and then the mandatory vaccines, and now the Ukraine situation. It's all working towards. It's all part of the plan.
It's all part of the plan. How did you know Shanimal was going to play that clip? But you see, it sets up nicely in the context of the fervor and the movement that is Trump. And by not being able or not having to revert back to Trump, it sets up nicely that foundation for a new world order. We're going to see a false flag. We're going to see something. And it's going to be within the next, before his term expires.
Yeah, I know
That's what it is. And it could be even sooner. It could be prior to the midterm, so they don't have to play out the election process in November. That's also possible. I mean, what we're seeing before our very eyes is just incomprehensible. Beginning with the border, the wearing of the masks, the lockdowns.
You mean the Ukrainian border, the most sacred border?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. Yeah, not ours. Because regionalism requires a borderless hemisphere. So that's why they're not interested in our border.
Yeah.
I hope the American people understand that context, because that's why. If they're scratching their heads at this point, they really don't get this, because it's by design.
And so many people have been indoctrinated now, especially the younger generation, to believe that Western civilization is the worst thing in the world, and we're responsible for all this, and we need to get rid of white males and toxic masculinity and all the rest of it.
Well, what we need to get rid of is public schools.
Exactly.
Oh, look at the phones light up. The teachers' unions.
Yes.
The
Scientifically possible!
mass indoctrination,
it's
the blue pill, just being blue pill day after day, week after week, and it's just too bad that people are falling for this stuff. So many of them.
We were talking before the show about the imperatives of eliminating the Federal Reserve or central banking
Yes.
and the income tax, and it occurred to me that if we don't get rid of the public schools, we'll have another generation of ignorant people to have to deal with. So maybe that's what our priority should be.
Yeah.
Because that's their purpose.
Yep.
It wasn't in the Communist Manifesto without thought. It was deliberate.
Yep. Uniform, compulsory, free education.
Mm-hmm. That's how it's worded.
Whoever controls the schools, whichever political party controls government schools, will indoctrinate the schools with the prevailing ideology of the day.
Of the time.
Which is wokeness right now.
Yep. That's what it is. That's where we're going.
Yeah. And so, I wish that somebody would come along in a white horse and rescue us.
Well, Durham is going to produce a large volume of classified materials today.
Oh, okay.
From Igor Danchenko's, the Steele dossier source, Igor Danchenko. That's going to be interesting. Probably won't get the attention it deserves because that's what media does. They will deflect it, but it's critical. He's still on that. And here's another story. Kamala Harris snapped at Joe Biden for making her border czar and then accused Biden's white inner circle of looking down on her.
Oh, no.
It doesn't get
Poor Kamala.
Yeah.
Time is so hard on her.
Just passage of time.